This chick's popping up in my feed now because of Asmongold. Asmongold reacted to a video of her, and I watched the video before Asmongold reacted to it, which is crazy. It was almost like the algorithm wanted everybody to see this chick. Is it so wrong to just want attractive characters? Yes, it is very wrong, according to the corporate propagandists who are trying to mass market all of their IPs to the modern audience so they can get as much sales as they possibly can, which is actually doing the opposite of what they think they're doing. Or maybe that's what they want. Maybe somebody's gotten in and just decided that we're a problem and want to destroy everything that we love from the inside.
And all of this is why I just do not understand why some developers keep getting it wrong. It really feels so simple. Yes, give us great gameplay, fun mechanics, a interesting and meaningful story, but then layer attractive, pretty characters on top of that to create hype around the game, grab our interest, and hold our attention. All of this just makes for a much more enjoyable experience.
Well, they don't want people like us to enjoy things. That's the whole point. They destroy everything that we love on purpose because we're a problem. They're not making games to make games. They're pushing their agenda, and it just so happens to be that they're making games.
So this video is kind of related to my very first video about women in games, but before we get into it, we have to acknowledge everybody that is subscribed to the channel. Wow, honestly, I don't really even know what to say. This has been such a overwhelming week in the best way, but thank you. Thank you to every single one of you for all of the comments and messages and just all of the support. Now, let's talk about hot characters. I've always found it very interesting when I see some gamers say, I don't care what my character looks like, I just want a good game. And while, sure, I believe some people probably do feel that way, when you actually look around at
I do care what my character looks like. Doesn't have to be pretty. The character just has to make sense. Because if the character's too pretty for the game that I'm playing and it doesn't make sense, then I'm probably not going to like that. Less likely to keep playing it, you know? If you're playing as an ugly character and it makes sense that you're an ugly character, say like in a game like Dark Souls, then I love that.
What's successful and what's not, what resonates and what doesn't. The idea that visuals don't matter, it doesn't really hold up. The second you start digging into this stuff, it's pretty clear. Visuals play a huge role in whether something hits or flops. And if they didn't, cosmetics probably wouldn't be one of the most profitable parts of the entire gaming industry. The truth is, I think most of us do care, even if it's subconsciously. And this isn't just a gaming thing, but for whatever reason, the gaming industry seems especially confused about it. Because books, anime, movies, shows, we care about how the characters look. We always have. Now, just to be clear, an attractive character cannot save bad writing or bad gameplay. A great design won't make a boring game fun, and eye candy is totally pointless if there's zero substance to back it up.
Yeah, Assassin's Creed Shadows. Literally all that I see about that game is, look how pretty it is. Look how awesome this mechanic works. And then I see the cutscenes, and I see the story, and I see the characters.
And on the opposite side, it's not like a game is necessarily doomed if the characters are uninspired or unattractive. But let's be honest, we have been done dirty quite a few times at this point. But when it does work, when you combine great writing, a solid gameplay, and a compelling visual design, that's really when the secret sauce hits. And that's when a character truly becomes iconic.
And it's like, I don't know what's so hard to do about that. I can understand that it's off a little bit. But when you're just doing it on purpose, I don't get it. Like, how do you think you're going to make money? The bottom's going to fall out eventually.
So, how important is beauty really? What can it actually be used for in storytelling, and why does it matter at all? Yes, beauty is completely subjective, but let's try and figure it out together. When it comes to storytelling, beauty isn't just about looking good, it's about what that beauty communicates. It's a kind of visual shorthand for personality, purpose, or the emotional tone of a character. Take Cortana from Halo. She's sleek, luminous, and kind of untouchable. Her ethereal design isn't random, it reinforces her role as an AI. She's attractive, mysterious, highly advanced, but also...
Yeah, and that's why it was so fucking weird in the Halo TV show. She was not attractive at all. She looked like a real person with a blue filter on her.
just slightly out of reach. Or Aerith from Final Fantasy. She's beautiful in this really soft, gentle way. Her design radiates hope and warmth, and you feel that when she's on screen. There's something very delicate and endearing about her that sticks with you. Then there's Eve from Stellar Blade, and yeah, people definitely noticed her design pretty much immediately. She's bold, striking, and yes, super hot.
I still haven't played Stellar Blade, and I want to. It seems like a game that I'd be into. I just don't pay full price for games.
But what's cool is that once the game launched, the gameplay actually backed it up. And okay, can we talk about Verso from Clair Obscur for a second? Because he is undeniably very handsome. The white hair, the posture, the somber expression.
I'm seeing people talking about they want to get his hair cut. Because he's got some nice hair, man. I'd like to have that skunk stripe in my hair.
He's restrained, haunted, and you immediately feel like there's something deeper going on. These characters aren't designed to just be pretty. They're designed with intention. Their looks are part of their emotional blueprint, and the fact that they're attractive is what actually initially draws you in. Their looks tell you how to feel before a single line of dialogue.
And just being, like, pretty is not just what it's all about to be attractive. There are ugly characters who are attractive. Like the main character of Space Marine. He's ugly. He's bulky, but he looks good. Or like, let's go back. Quark from Ratchet and Clank. He's ugly, also bulky, but his design is really good, and I like it. It's one of my favorite designs of any character ever, and he's ugly.
As humans, we are biologically wired to respond to beauty, and that's not a bad thing. So when a character's design feels off, or it doesn't match the story we're being told, that disconnect can make it way harder to emotionally connect. And this kind of visual storytelling has been around for ages. This is nothing new, and it's not just in games, it's everywhere, especially in film. Taking a look at Lord of the Rings, think about Aragorn. Rugged, attractive, weathered, and quietly noble. His entire look reflects the burden that he carries, and you can see the weight of his past just by looking at him. Then there's Éowyn and Arwen, two beautiful women with totally different vibes. One is a warrior with conviction, the other is a very soft, ethereal queen. And their looks reflect who they are at their core, and that's what good design does.
Yeah, instead, they're trying to reflect who the designer is at their core by projecting themselves into the game. And they're ugly people, but they think that they're hot. That's why they think the characters are attractive, because they look like them and they think that they're the shits gets, the bee's knees.
It supports the story. All right, switching tones completely here, but I have to talk about my love for the Mummy series very quickly, because Brendan Fraser and Rachel Weisz weren't just very fun, flirty, iconic characters. They were extremely captivating.
That's one of my favorite movies. I fucking love The Mummy.
Chemistry was off the charts, and they were both ridiculously attractive, okay? But their beauty didn't just decorate the film, it amplified it. The adventure they were on, the romance, the danger. I actually love this series so much. I used to work at the Mummy roller coaster at Universal, and I may or may not have hearing loss in my one ear, thanks to Brendan Fraser screaming for his coffee at the end of the ride. Just a little bit of NPC lore for you. So if we know that beauty helps tell the story, what about when it's entirely in the player's hands? Let's talk about character customization and the literal billions being spent on it. Video game cosmetics are a multi-billion-dollar industry. In fact, media research projects that purely cosmetic in-game purchases will reach $100 billion a year by...
I can see with this whole character customization, like these character creators getting more and more popular, that they're going to start implementing paid features into these character creators to make the creators better, but you're going to have to pay for them. Like, you want more hairstyles in your character creation? Pay for them. You want to make your tits bigger? Pay for it.
2028. Let that sink in for a second. $100 billion a year for making your character look nice. Listen, all right, I am not ashamed that I myself played a part in this pretty recently. I hadn't touched Fortnite in like 7 or 8 years, but I randomly started playing duos again over the last few months, and pretty much right after I did, I saw none other than Spike Spiegel and Faye Valentine.
Yeah, if I was playing Fortnite, that's probably the characters that I would have ended up buying off of the skin pack store. But I don't buy microtransactions. The only time that I've ever actually bought microtransactions was Call of Duty Mobile and a couple other games like that on the phone. But I didn't spend real money on it. I spent Google Opinion Rewards money from doing surveys that they just give me money in my Play account. And I'd use that to buy stuff.
In the shop. Yeah, I was buying up those V-Bucks pretty much immediately. It was just the idea of getting to play as some of the characters I love so much in a game that I've unironically been having a ton of fun with.
And that's how they get you.
It was almost like I had no choice here. Quick side note, Faye Valentine definitely goes on our list of amazing female characters, for sure.
Yep, she's in my top 10 female characters of all time.
And I must confess, I also purchased the Sabrina Carpenter skin. Her dress was just so pretty. Now on the flip side, the opposite is true too. When character design fails to resonate, players clock it immediately. This is very old news at this point, but I always think about Concord. This was really the first time, at least for me, that I had seen so much public backlash about character design. And for Concord, yeah, it kind of seems like this was one of the biggest reasons that it flopped. People did not like the characters.
Yeah, it's absolute garbage. It's like they almost had something good going, but they had these weird drama club people designing these characters, and they almost had something. It's like they had somebody good doing the initial like concept art, and then they were like, well, we got to tone this down, so because people aren't this attractive, we got to make people want to resonate with these characters and like really become these characters because they look like them. Ugly like them. They're basically calling everybody ugly.
They felt awkward, uninspired, off-putting, forced. In a market full of games where the character designs are intended to be inherently beautiful, bold, attractive, Concord's cast kind of looked like they were built by a committee just to check boxes. And then there's Starfield. This game was supposed to be massive, story-rich, world-expanding, but on top of just so-so gameplay.
Like, we all knew what the deal was with Starfield, right? After seeing Fallout 4 being worse than the previous games that they made, and then 76 happened, everybody knew that Starfield was going to be a disaster, especially it being a new IP.
The one thing I kept seeing over and over again was how unappealing, bland-looking, and emotionally empty the NPCs felt. They didn't draw you in or match the tone of the world. For the most part, they were just generic copy-paste that you didn't really want to engage with. Another game that comes to mind that I've mentioned before is Star Wars Outlaws. Unfortunately, both good gameplay and good character design were amiss here. And there were even moments where Kay Vess didn't look quite human, which is very wild because
I think they were using AI to generate her face at any given moment, probably. That's why it changed so often.
her actress is so stunning. The blueprint was right there, but for some reason, I guess they couldn't make a character design that did her justice. And the disconnect.
Yeah, because they had to get politics involved and they had an agenda going and it just tainted everything. They could have had something good going, but they tainted it.
Across all of these examples is important to note because it's not just about realism, it's about relatability. Games are probably the biggest storytelling medium, and a character's design should invite you into the story. People want to feel something when they look at a character. Excitement, admiration, curiosity. And when what you're looking at feels flat, awkward, or overly ordinary, like someone you just passed by on the street, it breaks the fantasy. And that desire for your character to look attractive and appealing,
Yeah, real life sucks, man. I play video games to get away from it, not to be reminded that people are ugly.
Starts even before the actual game begins. Take Baldur's Gate 3 for example. According to Larian, players collectively spent over 8,000 years just in the character creator.
Dude, I spent so much time in the character creator, and I'm glad that it gives you multiple points in the game to use the character creator. Like, to create your, guardian character. I like that.
That's like 16% of the game's total playtime before even starting the game. And yes, I did contribute to that. Because to me, character aesthetics are just part of the immersion. They're part of what makes an incredible game. They help me feel more emotionally anchored in the world and make for a way more enjoyable experience. And this goes for both male and female characters alike. Even in Red Dead Redemption 2, I loved getting to change Arthur's hair, his beard, and outfits, and I'm just so glad we got to do that because I really felt like I could reflect where he was at mentally and emotionally.
Yeah, these game devs need to get it into their head that Fashion Souls is like the most important part. You gotta have good gameplay, you gotta have a good art style, and you gotta have good Fashion Souls.
Small touch made him feel a lot more real. Now, switching gears for a quick moment, bear with me here, okay? I'm gonna go ahead and out myself for a second. I love a good romantasy book. Yes, I know, but before you roll your eyes and you click off the video, please just hear me out. This genre includes some of the best-selling books on the market. You maybe have heard of series like Throne of Glass or ACOTAR, and the characters in these stories are described with this enchanted, ethereal kind of beauty. It's dramatic, it's swoony, it's meant to sweep you off your feet, and that's part of the fantasy. It's part of the immersion. There's even one fan favorite image of a certain ACOTAR character that went viral, and for many fans, that's basically canon now. Godspeed to whatever casting director.
I keep hearing about ACOTAR, and I have no idea what that is. Somebody drop down in the comments what that is. Give me a link to something or something.
Has to find that guy in the real world. They will come for you. The exact same thing happens in anime and animation, sometimes even more intensely. These characters are designed from the ground up to be visually appealing. Their looks are exaggerated, idealized, sometimes maybe a little too much, but we love them for it. And there's a reason that certain characters dominate cosplay every.
Oh, dude, wasn't that the character from Kakegurui that they completely ruined the live action for? It's not even the same thing.
Con season, or why fans fight over who's best girl or best boy with genuine passion. Even in the VTuber space, visual design is everything. And there's a reason VTubers put so much effort into their appearance, and people can completely fall in love with them before they ever even hear their voice. The look, the aesthetic, the vibe, it all is meant to draw people in. The design is the hook. All of this is so important because when a character looks the way they're supposed to feel, that's when the magic happens. That's when people get protective. That's when a fandom really forms. Piggybacking off of all of that, I'd like to touch on something very quickly that gets brought up a lot in conversations like this. And that's the idea that it's just gamers that are the ones who care way too much about a character's appearance. That it's just gamers who have this problem. Like the second someone doesn't like a design, it's suddenly gamers are just toxic and you just need to get over it.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if gamers are toxic and that they need to get over it. It's what they like, and it's what makes money. And if you don't do what gamers like, then you're not going to make money when you're making a game. It's a pretty simple formula. Do what gamers like, make money.
But based on everything that I've said thus far, honestly, I do not think that's fair, because this is a thing across every genre, every medium. Everybody wants well-designed, fun, good-looking, beautiful, charismatic characters. It's how we're
Except for the weirdos who are creating it and the weirdos who are defending it who don't actually consume the content anyway.
Wired, and it's why certain characters instantly spark hype online or can aid in tanking a release before it's even out of the oven. Yes, I'm looking at you, Intergalactic. Now, again, I am not saying every character in a game needs to look like a supermodel, but what I am so tired of seeing is characters intentionally designed to be less appealing. When the people making the decisions nerf a character's looks in a way that has nothing to do with their actual background or story, they just do it just because.
This character's prettier than me, we gotta tone it down because I have to be the prettiest in the office. I can't be constantly looking at something that's prettier than me.
It really makes no sense. It creates unnecessary dissonance, and it pulls people out of the fantasy instead of drawing them in. My last note on this here is just think about celebrities. Think about how people respond to celebrities, whether they're singers or actors. How they look, their appearance is always part of the conversation.
Yeah, just look at Bella Ramsey and how much people don't like her.
And so many times you could easily say it even contributes to their success. Even when it technically has nothing to do with what they're known for, it somehow still does. Because that's just how humans respond to other humans. We're made that way. We notice, we connect, we feel, and what we see at the first glance is the very first step of that. So of course, while beauty is not everything, and it's certainly not a substitute for good writing, gameplay, or mechanics, it's so often our very first impression, and usually it's the first thing that really captures our attention, lets us know what a character is about, and makes us care. And this is something that has always mattered and will always matter, regardless of the medium being used to tell the story. And all of this is why I just do not understand why some developers keep getting it wrong. It really feels so simple. Yes.
It's because they don't actually care. They're trying to push an agenda. They're trying to be on the right side of history, trying to change culture, and it's not working. They thought it was working. It started to kind of work because people were like, I don't care about the weird political stuff, you know. It's not that big a deal. But you give them an inch, they take a mile.
give us great gameplay, fun mechanics, a interesting and meaningful story, but then layer attractive, pretty characters on top of that to create hype around the game, grab our interest, and hold our attention. All of this just makes for a much more enjoyable experience. For developers who are passionate about the product.
Yeah, once again, they don't want you enjoying the experience because you're the wrong people that they're trying to market to. They want people who aren't going to enjoy their art to not enjoy things. And they want people who are going to enjoy their art to enjoy their art and pay for it, but they're not gonna. Those aren't the people who actually pay for things.
Projects that they're making, and they're doing it for the right reasons. Odds are this is probably already all included. So it really is a guaranteed formula for success. And they're shooting themselves in the foot if the very first thing that we see is a bland, boring, or just unappealing protagonist or cast of characters. Sorry for the outfit jump scare. This is editor NPC here, and I was watching this back through and wanted to make sure I just clarified this point really well at the end. All right, I'll see myself out. Okay, thank you so much to those who made it to the end of this video. I'm genuinely so glad that you were here. Like I said at the start, this past week has been a bit of a whirlwind. I just want to say I appreciate everyone and your support so much. I still really can't wrap my head around everything that's happening, but I'm just gonna be here doing my thing like I was already planning to do. So thank you again for being a part of this YouTube journey with me.
You're welcome, man. I like this chick. I'll probably react to more videos that she's got going in the future. She seems like a normal, pretty lady. And I like normal, pretty ladies. She seems kind of like exactly my type, you know? Maybe I got a chance. You think I got a chance? That's all I got for this one. Buy a t-shirt down there in the description. I'm out.